Let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to this group demo for DocketManager. We're glad to have you on board today. DocketManager is a browser-based print MIS system. We're a fully integrated solution, a SaaS model, and what we mean by fully integrated is it actually works from online ordering all the way down through accounts receivable. So there is going to be a built-in CRM we'll look at today. It handles quotes, orders, invoicing, production, inventory, and again, accounts receivable. So it's fully integrated SaaS model just means that it is a software as a service. So you're going to connect to the solution through the internet or through a browser. And the benefits of that is you can actually connect anywhere that you have access to the internet. It is also available on a cell phone or tablet, and the site has actually been built as being responsive. So what that means is when you scale it down on a cell phone or tablet or open it up on a cell phone or tablet, it will scale perfectly for that medium. So it's not going to be like one of those websites that you go to when you're on your cell phone where you got to pinch and zoom to zoom in on it. It is built and developed to be very visible on a cell phone or tablet. And we do that because we know that the industry as well as basically the internet is moving to mobile devices and smart devices like tablets as far as browsing. We're seeing those trends, and everybody is really seeing those trends as the most prominent way to access the internet. So we've built DocketManager so that it can be accessed that way, and the great reason for doing that really is, think about it, if you've got sales reps that are out in the field, they can actually access the system to check up on orders or do quotes right while they're with a customer. Same thing for shop floor personnel. If you're trying to do some shop floor data collection and you don't have a lot of PCs or workstations throughout the shop, you can actually connect through a tablet. So again, one of the many reasons why we've built this to be available in a cell phone or smartphone phone environment as well. So it is browser-based. Any browser that you have access to, you can get to DocketManager from. So let's start walking into the demo itself right now. We're going to, first thing we want to take a look at here is the dashboard, and that's one of the main features that DocketManager has first up on the left-hand side. The dashboard is really designed for owners and managers, so it's kind of like a quick access to them so that you can actually see the health of the shop, see what's going on. So an owner or manager is actually going to go in and take a look at the health of the shop. So you're going to be able to see. Sorry, there are a couple of questions coming in, so I just wanted to see if I could grab them really quick here. Terry wanted to know if we can make him the presenter. At some point we can. Yeah, actually later on in the session, if you've got some questions, we can do that. But anyways, the dashboard is just an owner's overview or a manager's overview. So they're going to see the actual orders that have been received in today, yesterday, the week, month, quarter, and year. So it's a good way of seeing where you're at as far as your sales with your shop go. There's going to be an accounts receivable graph, which you're going to be able to see at a glance, just where your accounts receivable are. So we've got a pretty hefty graph there in 90 days, so maybe we're going to have to get on the phone and make some phone calls. You'll have a production graph, so you can see where the backlogs are in your production area, and this production area actually is customizable by your shop. So you can go in and put whatever workflow centers in that you're looking for or you're wanting. There is an orders and quotes graph, so you can see orders that are actually in progress, what's unposted, what's posted, and what's voided, as well as quotes, how many quotes you have in that are active, what you've converted over into orders, and what you've lost. And then down at the bottom here, we've got a sales graph, which shows your projected sales throughout the year. So you can see what you've got projected as far as sales, your different ebbs and tides within your sales flow. And then the actual sales are going to show up against that. So you'll see if you're actually making your projected goals through each month of the year. Over on the right-hand side, you're going to see, based on login, the number of customers, how many quotes and orders have been produced, as well as any applicable timers for the day. It is a login-based system, so you'll see up at the top corner here, your different shop floor personnel can log in, and you can set security access for them as well. So you can determine, what they're going to see and what they're not going to see. So if you don't want someone in your shop to be able to access this dashboard, you could turn that off for them so they don't have access to it. It can also work as a time clock, so your employees can clock in and clock out. And then up in the little pull-down area here, you have release notes and a community forum that we give our customers access to just interact back and forth with other DocketManager owners. Down below the little orders and quotes section, you're going to see the tasks. So DocketManager has a built-in task manager which allows you to assign tasks to different people within your shop, and a task can be assigned based on a customer, maybe it's following up on a quote, or a task can even be assigned based on a job or quote level. So in the manager's dashboard here, you're going to see the tasks and the due dates and what they're related to. Any recent communications that have gone out from DocketManager, so a communication can be, an approval request on a proof. So you'll see those requests come through the dashboard. And then down below that, we've got deposits. So deposits on different orders as well as purchase orders that go out to various vendors. And a purchase order can either be a purchase order that's sent out for an outsourced portion of the job, or a purchase order can be to a paper vendor. So again, just a very good overview of the shop, the health of the shop from this owner's dashboard. And it can be accessed at any point, typically by an owner or manager. So as we work down on the left-hand side here, we've got this built-in CRM within DocketManager, which allows you to manage all of the customers and prospects within your print shop. There are a number of tabs up at the top here which show you the different areas of access. So the customers are really just the companies that you're dealing with. The contacts are the individuals within the companies. And then we have an area for marketing campaigns and marketing lists. So you can gather that data together if you're doing different marketing campaigns or lists and put them together so that maybe you can do a direct mail piece. So you're going to export that list out of here and do a direct mail piece, or maybe even import it into an email marketing program like Constant Contact or MailChimp for email marketing. And then there's a sales tab at the end here too, which we'll go over in a few minutes. In each section of DocketManager, down the left, you'll see a pretty comprehensive search tool, which allows you to do multiple level queries looking for either customers, or again, it's going to change based on the area that you're in. So whether you're in the quotes or production area, or even the inventory section, you're going to be able to search based on key terms within those individual areas. So you'll see now that we're in the CRM, you can search for an email address, phone number, customer number, so forth. And then your results will show up over on the right-hand side here. It gives you some pretty key information in the customer's area, so it's going to show the customer information, who the sales rep might be, when their last order date was, and how long they've actually been a customer. We can actually go further into the customer level by clicking on the edit icon, and anywhere you'll hover over and you'll see that edit icon. That's going to allow you to draw deeper into that particular piece. So in this case, if we want to go into our demographic or industries company, we can click on that, go in, and across this top, you're going to see general financial information, what their total outstanding balance is, and if we hover over that total balance, you'll be able to see what's 30, 60, 90 days out for them, as well as, again, just, how many orders and dollar amounts, how many quotes, what they've done this year, last year, and then importantly, what their average days to pay is. Now, keep in mind, all of this information can be turned off with security levels, so if you don't want that financial information showing up to shop floor personnel, you can turn that off. Down the left-hand side of a customer, you're going to see the details, the customer details. So standard information, phone, fax, email, web address. You can put social networks in here. So if you're doing any interaction with your prospects or clients through their social networks, these are nice little hyperlinks to take you out to their social network for interaction. Each customer can be assigned a sales rep, a CSR, and a graphic artist. as well as default shipping and billing addresses here. Now you can have multiple shipping or billing addresses within the customer. These are going to be the default here, which will show up by default on the order, but you can change them as the order is placed. The other nice thing about these shipping and billing addresses is they're hyperlinks into Google Maps. So again, being that this is accessible in a mobile environment, if your delivery people or even your salespeople are going into a client and they want to have a map on how to get there, they can click on that address and go directly to Google Maps for directions. Throughout DocketManager in various areas like paper or even order types, you can set tags. As you see here, we have tags in the customer area or the CRM area, and tags can be used for, again, some pretty extensive search queries. A good example might be this particular customer is part of the information and technology vertical, and we know we have some success with that vertical, so we've tagged all of our IT clients. We can do that search for all of our IT clients, put it in a marketing list, and then export it into, again, a direct mail piece or even a email marketing piece. So tags can be utilized for a number of different things. We've seen people actually tag the types of works that a customer does. That way, if, again, you're doing any marketing or even maybe a prospect comes up and says, hey, I'd love to talk to somebody who you've done business with, who you've done annual reports for. You can tag that on a customer level, look that up, and then pass that on to your prospects. Tags are a pretty cool feature. We have a lot of people that have commented on how powerful they are. You can have default shipping types, default invoice delivery, and default payment terms for each client. You can also set up a discount, credit limits, and types of tax on the client level. So you can have multiple tax levels in there. Down the middle here, you can also have notes for this particular client. And a note can be anything that a sales rep or CSR takes that they just want to reference on the customer level. A note can also be a sticky item. So you'll see in this first one, it says on all new orders, please change the logo to the new one. So maybe we're managing the artwork for the client, and they've got a new logo that we need to swap out. If we make this a sticky note, as you see over on the side here, that means it's going to automatically show up on all new quotes and orders that are created. So it'll be in the notes section there, so it'll be out there for us to see. So again, you can make sticky notes, which is really a great feature for remembering all the different things that need to be remembered on the job or quote level. You can have multiple contacts within a company with their phone and email address, as well as, I said before, setting tasks. So you can set a task on the customer level, and it could be something like follow up on a quote, or make sure you get the quote by Friday, or pick up the order next week. So again, you can set those tasks as well as due dates on the tasks and who they are assigned to. All the way over on the right-hand side, you're going to be able to see the most recent orders or quotes or even shopping carts for that particular person or this particular company. So these are going to show the most recent ones. We can actually view all. From this area, we can also create a new order or quote. So if we were in this customer and we knew we needed to create a new order from here, we're going to select new. It'll automatically select that customer and allow us to enter the ordering or quoting process. We can jump into any one of these orders as well. So just by clicking on that little edit icon will bring us to the order. Now the order is like the parent piece, and there are items that will go ahead and make up the order, so we can see the individual items for that customer down below. So a good example would be a saddle stitch book. On a saddle stitch book, we know we've got most likely a separate cover, and then we've got body pages. That's a different item, maybe a brochure that gets stuffed into the middle somewhere. Those are the items that go to make up an order. So here we can see our individual items, and then here we can see and access the orders themselves. All the way down at the bottom of the customer, we also have general accounting information, like any balances that are out on this particular customer, any payments or entries that were made, accounting entries that were made for them. So if we needed to actually go in and dive deeper into the particular client, we can go in. There's an actions area up at the top here, which allows us to edit the information for the client. We can also print or email statements out, or just even send out emails or records from here. So let's jump back into the CRM. And we talked about the contacts, the marketing areas, and lists. I want to show you the sales area too, because the sales area is really a nice tool to help you track where you are throughout your projected dollar amounts through the month and what you've done throughout your fiscal year. So you'll see up at the top here, it shows that in February so far, we've posted $77,000. We have a projected amount of 135, so that's hoping what we're going to get to. Which means right now we have $57,000 outstanding that we have to get to make that goal. And then it gives us a nice little daily target. And that daily target is based on the amount of business days that are left in the month. We have to do that much in sales till the end of the month to reach our target. And that's obviously a changing a dollar amount depending on how many sales you're doing each day. It's going to change based on what's left in the month as far as business days. So here you're going to see your months that you've done throughout your fiscal year. So we were early in our fiscal year in February. We can see that in January we actually missed our goal by about $1,500. So we've got the posted amount versus what's outstanding and what's projected. As we start developing history, you can see what you did last year, so you can go ahead and increase your projected amount so you can try and realize a growth at this level. The other nice thing is you can then kind of dive down further into jobs that are in the shop currently. So, you know, I've got a daily target of $7,000 that I have to meet today. So I can see where, okay, I've got a lot that's in digital right now. So if I go into my digital department, it's going to show me those particular items. I see I've got a $7,000 job right here in my digital department. I can actually dive into this job, see what the status of it is or where it's at. So maybe I can push it out a little quicker and get that billed today if possible to meet the target. So I can drill down into all of my different cost centers to find out where everything is. So that's the CRM section. Let's jump over into the quotes and orders section. The quotes and orders is where you're going to create, manage, edit all of your quotes and orders that you bring in through DocketManager. In this section, again, you're going to see that financial information up at the top. We can turn that off to shop floor personnel. But as you notice, we do have that pretty comprehensive search tool down the side here. We've got some great search features that you can look for as far as finding orders or quotes. So we can go in and say, I want to search for order dates, and I can actually even give it a custom range, select a customer. So if I was looking for something specific from a customer that I know they ordered in February last year, I can go ahead and search for that custom range based on that client. I can search through orders, quotes, or shopping carts. So the shopping carts are those online pieces. So I can choose what type of item I want to search for, whether it be the quote or the order or the shopping cart. And then again, go ahead and search down through the various pieces. My query then comes up over on the right-hand side, where again I have some good information that I can access, the order date, the number of items, what the total amount is, as well as the balance. I can also create a new order or a new quote right from here on the quotes and orders page. I can also do a new quote or order up at the top in the toolbar here. There are some other things I can do in the toolbar as well. I can create new customers, contacts, stock items, or tasks that are assigned to different people based on customers. So again, a lot of things I can start up in that toolbar. Let's go ahead and look at an order that I've already created today just to optimize the time. So I'm going to do that search query. Whoop, let me go ahead and clear my search and do a search for my $13.99 order. And that $13.99 order will come up on the screen here. So now I can click on that icon to jump in and start looking at the items that are in this particular order. Now, creating a quote or an order, it's the same process. So once you know how to create an order, you can create a quote and vice versa. You can go back and create an order or a quote. The other nice thing is you can convert either item back and forth. So if we have a quote that we know has been won, the customer said go ahead and produce it, we can convert that quote right from this pull down into an order, or we can do the opposite. We can convert an order back into a quote. So maybe it's a history job that we've done in the past that we've already posted. The client wants to reorder it, but they want a price first. We can convert all that data back into a quote, make the changes. Then again, when it becomes an order, we can convert it over into an order. So there's a lot of other things that you can do in this actions pull down too. You can print or email invoices, packing slips, you can send shipped emails or print shipping labels. So the anatomy of an order or quote, again, up at the top, we've got our order date, our whether it's been invoiced or not, how many items are in that particular order, the total amount, what's paid, and what the balance is left on the order. Down below here, these are the items that go to make up the order. We'll get into those in a few seconds. I just want to go down to the bottom here and show you that the customer data does apply over. So if I need to go ahead and edit this, like change the address for shipping or billing, I can change that, or even change any of the terms as far as pickup, invoicing, or payment terms. I can override those. In the middle, I have details, so when the invoice date is. So if I need to bill this job today, I can select today for the invoice date, also the due date of the piece, what the total amount of the order is, a breakout for graphic, any type of discount that you've applied. Shipping and postage also show up here as well. And then you can also have an approved total. So maybe you have done a rough estimate on this, and you've told your client that, hey, the job is not going to go over $7,000, or your client has said, I've got a budget of $7,000. You can set that approved total here. So when you're getting those different costs in, maybe your graphics department, you quoted 2 hours, but it could take up to 3. And we can bill for that. You can put the approved total down here, and with the approved total, if it doesn't match what the total is, it cannot be invoiced. So it's a good way to, one, eliminate invoicing mistakes, or two, the ability to send the invoices out immediately with the job if it matches the approved total. So again, a nice little feature. Over on the right-hand side, we also have payments. So if there are any payments applied against the order, so they put a down payment in this of $1,250 via credit card. We've applied that to the order. We can do that. And then any notes that are general to the order itself. And you'll see here, this is that sticky note that copied over for this particular customer to make sure on new orders, change the logo to the new one. So again, some nice features, just even on the order and quote basis level. When you create a new order or a quote, if you're starting from scratch, it's going to show up with no items, obviously, in this area here, and you're going to have to add those items in. Now remember, if you're pulling something as a reorder or from a quote, all the items will be there and carried over from that quote or that order. But if we're starting from scratch, we're going to have to add the items as we build the quote or the job. So there's 3 ways to do that. The first way is actually to create a new order from scratch. So I can click new and enter all of the details, the graphics, the press, the paper, any bindery or outsourced information. I can enter all of that information item by item, and not a big deal. The next way of entering or adding an item in is to insert that item, and we have a number of different ways to insert those items in. An item can be inserted from a current or past order for this customer, from a quote of the customer, from a template or a group template, and we'll talk about those in a few moments, or from a customer good. So let's say we're doing inventory management for the customer. We're keeping customer goods in our shop, whether it be masters or shells that we're imprinting, or whether it be items that we're doing fulfillment on. We can manage those customer goods and pull those new orders in from the customer goods area. So we have multiple ways to ship for those particular pieces. So let's say we know this is from a past order of this customer, and it was an envelope. I can actually do a quick search here for envelope for this client. It'll pull up all the different search pieces for there, so I can scroll down through, find the one that I'd like, select it, and add it to the order. So very easy, very simple, very quick and efficient for adding items in. And from there, I can change the specifications as needed. So maybe they're doing a reorder, but instead of 500 pieces, they want to do 1,000 pieces. So again, I can add it in, has all the specs in from the last order, and all I have to do is change the quantity. Again, great different ways to search for the different pieces based on order dates, invoice dates. Even if you look down at the bottom here, it shows by customer names. So not only can we do that search based on this customer, but we can do searches based on other customers. So if maybe we did a quote last week for a client that's very similar to this one, we can search from that client's quotes, copy that in, make the changes on the specifications. That way we're 90% through the job. We're just maybe changing quantity and possibly stock. So I can bring in from all kinds of different avenues items into the order and make changes. So it's a big time saver on all of these pieces as well. We can also bring in from what's called a template group. So if I select template groups, I can have different group types where I can search from. And when I bring those template groups in, I'll show you in a minute here over on the left-hand side, this is a template group, but it allows you to bring multiple items or grouped items into an order or quote all at once. So let's go ahead, I'm going to cancel it. We actually have one in here already that I'll show you. These are work orders. And on the work order, maybe it's a carbonless form where it has a white coated back and a tag coated front, a manila tag coated front. Obviously, those are two different pieces that I need to run through the press, but it's one piece total together. So I've created a group on this. So I'm bringing the work orders in, and it has the specs for the two items already grouped together. So I can set up groups that of similar items that I can bring in, like we spoke about earlier, the saddle stitch books. You can set up templates for saddle stitch books that maybe have a separate cover and a body page. So you're bringing that whole group in, and then you can edit those individual items if necessary. So those are our templated groups. The third and final way is actually from just a standard template itself. And when we bring the templates up on the screen, you're going to see that you can set different template groups. So these are all types of work that we're doing. So you can categorize them however you want. Brochures, certificates, checks, flyers, whatever. And all you have to do is select that particular option. So in this case, let's say we're doing a brochure. I can type in that brochure, select it, and then drill down even further into a template name. So I know that these are 8.5 by 14 brochures that I'm going to work on, and I know that the brochures are going to be 4 colors, so I'll even put that as the option. I'll narrow it down to that template. Here are my items that fit brochures 8.5 by 14 4 color. I would simply select the one that I want and add it into the job. Now, the nice thing about templates is these can be great starter points for you. Maybe you've got the basis of it. Hey, it's a 4/4. It's on our digital press, and we've got Sterling Ultra as the paper in there, but maybe the paper changes. That's okay. When we enter this particular piece into the order, we can go in and make that edit. So all we're doing is changing out the paper, and the rest of the specifications on the order are in there already. Even if you're just doing little tweaks, you're going to find that by utilizing these templates, it's going to save you a ton of time on order writing and estimating, and it's also going to eliminate a lot of mistakes. Early on in the demo or the presentation, I mentioned how sales reps can be at a client and bring up that quote on a mobile phone. This is one of the ways that they can easily do it. You train your sales reps to utilize these templates so they're not doing a lot of keystrokes on their phone. They're actually bringing up a template, making a quick little change on that template, and getting that price immediately to the customer. So you're going to find that templates are an invaluable part of DocketManager as a solution that's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of mistakes. I've talked to printers who say, listen, Joe, these templates are great, but the problem is all the work that I do is completely different. And then when I start to challenge them to take another look at it and say, hey, listen, it may be different type of work, but when you start looking at it as a core, there are bases that you can put into a template that are going to make it easier to start from. So even if it's just simple graphics, a paper size, and a press, you can set that template in, go ahead and then change the few little things that you have to, and at least it's starting off at that base. And a lot of times they agree saying, yeah, okay, maybe it is, there are some things that we can save in creating templates. So you can create your own templates, or we can preload you with these templates. So again, a very easy way to enter items into an order. So let's go into an order itself. One of the items, I'm going to jump into this construction brochure up at the top. This was one of those 8.5 by 14 pieces that we talked about. So let's say we need to estimate this now, or maybe we even need to make changes or tweaks to it. When we go into the piece, now we have a number of tabs that are applicable to the items that are being produced to get this job done. So we know that there's graphics, press, finishing, and some outsourcing done with this item. Maybe this came in from a template. That's great. It has a price here already for $2,500. So if I want to go in and add additional prices, so I know the client wants a price for $500 and for $1,000, I can go into editing mode. Now keep in mind, editing mode can be turned off for shop floor personnel. But I can go into this editing mode now, and I can add quantities. So if I wanted to do a new quantity, I can select new and type in that quantity. So the client wants a price for $500. I can actually override the price as well. So if I want to just say, hey, $500, it's $1,500. Or I can offer a discount on it. So I'm going to say this particular piece, either by dollar amount or percentage, I'm going to discount it maybe 10% because I want to discount this level. So again, I can go in and set that discount or set the price. I can click Save or Save and Add New. So in this case, if I wanted to add a new quantity like 500, I've got 1,000 I want to add in. I can go ahead and select it, click Save. And what it's going to do now is it's going to pull all of that information based on the specifications of the job into the pricing and calculate the pricing from there. I can also go in and select the actual quantity once they make that selection. So in this case, if they choose 1,000, I can click 1,000 and click Select Quantity. Pardon me. While I'm in editing mode, I can go down to the bottom here to see the actual quote, how everything is priced out and what the markups are and the profits for each cost center. So if I needed to change things, I could. So if I wanted to change a markup level on a press or on cutting or on paper, if I needed to sharpen my pencil a little bit more on this, so I've got a 40% markup on the paper, but I knew I needed to be competitive, so I want to do 30%. I can update those different markup levels, costs, or price right on the estimate itself. While I'm in editing mode, I can actually go in and add services in. So if I go to my graphics area, and this template specifically had 1 hour and 15 minutes as the estimated time for graphics, but I'm looking at the piece and I know it's probably about 2 hours worth of time. I can go in and change my estimated time to 2 hours, entering those specifications in. I can have different graphic rates. So if we look at here, we've got a standard graphic rate of $95 an hour, but maybe we do some web work as well. So I want to use a different rate for any of our web work. So I can put the specifications of the graphics department here, the press. I can make changes in the press area for the type of press. So if we pull down, we've got our press groupings and the actual presses within the different groupings. I can change presses across. I can also change stocks. So let's say, again, this was something that was pulled from a template. I knew it was my digital next press template. That's fine. That's what I'm going to use on the 4/4 configurations, but I need to go and change the stock out. I can go in and click Edit to now swap out the stock. What it's going to do is it's going to pull up my entire stock database, where now I can access based on supplier, based on parent size, based on color, finish, or even tags. So, if I was looking for maybe this is a web press and I wanted to look for my roll papers, I have a tag for rolls. I'd clear everything else out, see what rolls I have available, select that particular item, add it in, and move on. So then it's going to recalculate my costs based on what I have in the paper. We can update and change finishing as well. So if I need to add different department items for finishing, so here we've got folding and inserting that came in on this particular piece. If I knew I needed to add another department item into the finishing, I'd simply just add a new one, and I can pull that from all of my preset department items. We also have an outsource area, so within DocketManager you can actually outsource some of the work, so you can keep track of those outsourced items here. So you'll see we've got die cutting services here. We got a quote for them for foil stamping the cover and scoring for folding, but we want it returned flat. So we got a quote from them. We also got the same quote from Wade's Bindery. We can see those quotes down below here. So if I click plus, I can see that they quoted me for $2,500. Here's the price. This is what our markup was. But I've selected die cutting services as my actual vendor because maybe their price was more cost effective. So at this point I can see, yeah, they were $845. So I'm going to use their quote as this particular job. Now when I'm ready, let's go ahead and cancel this out and actually pull myself out of editing mode. Oops, I was actually out of editing mode. I can now send out this outsourced service PO directly to die cutting services. So if I select them and come up to my actions here and say send an outsource email, it's now going to allow me to select the type of purchase order that I want to send to them. So I can select that. If I wanted to, I could also add files to this particular piece. So if I'm outsourcing the entire job, I can select that file. When I click continue, and I'll show you in a few moments what it's actually going to look like on a proof level. When I click continue, it's going to create that email that then I can email directly out to the vendor. And again, the nice thing about this is you can keep track of all of your costs. So the purchase order is basically going to be the number, the item number of this job. So we can track that back in when the invoice comes in. Our accounting department can go in and say, okay, item number 139912. I want to track back, see what the quote was because I know what the invoice was that came in, and they can compare and make sure that everything is fine. So you can manage your outsourced services right from within each individual item. You could send out that purchase order. You can track it back as well. One of the important features within DocketManager that a lot of people are moving on to is the ability to utilize DocketManager as the actual docketing system or job ticket system. Now, a lot of you most likely still print out paper work orders or paper dockets. That's great. You can still continue to do that from within DocketManager. So if we go up to the actions area here, you can actually print out a work order from here. But what you're going to find as time goes on is it's going to be more efficient for your shop floor personnel to connect to the individual items in DocketManager to see the specifications and work on the job. So for example, our graphic artist is getting ready to work on the job. They're going to log in, find this item, go to the graphics tab. There's going to be notes in here that are applicable to them. And the nice thing is we can enter up notes in this job up until the point where our graphics person is working on it. So there's no more trying to hunt down, the customer calls up, makes changes. We've all experienced that. We've got to hunt that paper work order down and swap it out or add additional notes to it. You don't have to do that anymore with this system because your people are logging in, your CSRs are making the changes right there on the screen, and they're seeing those changes as they come across. So your graphics person comes in, they're going to see any of the specs, notes, or tasks that are applicable to them. They're going to see the basics, hey, this was quoted for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And they can actually start a timer now on this. So if my graphics department person wants to start that timer, they can go ahead and say new, and maybe this is graphic design work. They can define exactly what they're doing the timer for. They can select that rate, so it's a graphic rate. You'll notice here we've set a minimum time for our graphics department, so we know that, hey, no matter what, we're going to charge at least 15 minutes on this. And we can say, yes, we want the cost overridden and the price overridden. So once they hit save and start, it's now going to add that timer, start keeping track of that time based on the job that they're working on. When the graphics person is done, all they need to do is go over here and click stop timer, and it'll stop that timer. So it's tracking those costs back into the job, which allow you maybe to recoup things that you didn't know you were possibly losing money on. A lot of times when I talk with printers, they say, hey, listen, we know that we're losing money in our graphics department. We just can never quote enough, or we're not billing the right amount. Here you're actually going to see, when your graphics person keeps those timers, you're going to see the actual cost and how much time they spent right on the job itself. So let's say your graphics person's done, they've stopped the timer, now they're getting ready to send a proof. They can go ahead and upload that proof right into DocketManager here, and they can send that proof out. So let's say it's the brochure and they want to go ahead and send that proof out. They're going to go ahead and select it, and they're going to say, I want to send in a proof email. So I'm going to go ahead and select the file that I want to send that proof on, continue, and now it's going to bring up that email feature. So again, like this will show up with the outsourced email as well. We can select who in the company it's going to. It's a approval request, so you'll see it says proof approval here. It'll give them a link then to that particular proof. When they click send, it'll send it out. The client will be able to click on that link, get an instant proof on that particular piece, and approve or reject that proof right online. So they're getting that soft proof. They're accepting or rejecting it. Now, if they reject the proof, maybe there's changes that need to be made, they can type into a box what those changes need to be, and it goes back into that status, goes back into DocketManager, and the graphics artist person will be alerted of what those changes are. The other nice feature is once the proof is actually approved, the graphic artist can go ahead and load that particular file into the job itself. So if this is going on a digital press or a wide format piece, there's no more looking or hunting around for that file. Even if it is, ultra organized on a server, we've had horror stories where people have called up and said, listen, my person was looking for a particular file. We keep multiple versions because sometimes the client goes back and forth. They grab the wrong one and they printed it. So in this case, your graphic artist is uploading the actual file. Your press operator then is going and selecting it, and they're now downloading that file directly into a hot folder or into their machine. So it will handle file management as well, so it's going to eliminate a lot of those mistakes of possibly pulling a wrong file or even going through and searching for a file. It's all right here attached to the job. The other nice thing is if a reorder is done on the job and there's no changes on it, that file is already attached. You can feed it right into your digital department or right into your press department. There's no looking for the file again. It's all right there ready to produce, so you're saving a lot of time from there. Same thing with your press and finishing department. Your press operator is going to go in, get the statistics on the job itself. It'll show what the stock is, if it's in stock or if it's been outsourced, whether the stock has been allocated specifically for that press. So once it's allocated, it's actually pulled from that inventory and shown as applied to this particular job. The press operator is also going to have their own notes here if applicable, and they can also start their own timers from here as well. And then same thing in the finishing department, any specific notes that are applicable to them, they can go ahead and see those notes, and they can start their own timers here. So now our inserting guy needs to go ahead and start our inserting. They're going to go ahead and select the inserting timer. It'll automatically fill in with that department item, so it knows that it's doing inserting for the timer. You can select the bindery rate. You can set up preferences for the type of timer for that item, and then save and start, so your person's now starting that particular timer for inserting. And again, when they're done, all they have to do is select that little clock to stop the timer. So you've got that shop floor data collection going on within the order. And again, because it's a responsive site, if you don't have your different workstations or computers or laptops throughout the shop, you can access this on a cell phone or on a tablet. So your shop floor personnel can literally just start starting timers from their cell phone, from a tablet, or even starting timers from there. It's a big time saver, and again, it's a nice way of getting the specifications of the order, checking them out, keeping track of the costs against the job so you can be more profitable. So a lot going on, obviously, in the orders and quotes section. Let's look at our production schedule, so the production area, so we can keep moving along. I want to keep it to about an hour. So in our production settings here, you can actually work your production workflow from start to finish. And again, this is customizable based on the different operations and the different workflow centers you have within your shop. So in our production area here, you see we have graphics, press, digital. As the items come in, I can then shuffle them off to the different areas and then manage the workflow from there. Down the side here, you can see that we have that search feature or that search capability. It's really nice if you're trying to gain efficiencies as well too. Let's say you're still running an offset press and you're putting cool gray 4 on the press. So I want to go into my ink area, do a search for 4. Let's go ahead and do search. Go to my all tab, and I can see that these are the jobs that have cool gray 4. I can see where they are in the production workflow and kind of, push them through or hold off jobs till I get all my cool gray 4s together, so I can then run it all on the press at once. So I'm gaining those efficiencies through all my different search features. So you can search for department items. So if you're doing laminating and you want to see what types of jobs are being certain laminate, you can search through all those and again try and gang them together. When an item first comes in, it's going to go into a to assigned category, and from there, either your CSR or your production management team, however it's going to work, they're going to start the workflow process literally by selecting the particular item and then saying move to an area. So we want to move this one now into our graphics department. So we're going to go ahead and select graphics, click save, and those items will then move into the graphics department for the graphics workflow production. So my graphics person, when they come in for the day, they're going to go to the graphics tab. They're going to know that these particular items are assigned to them. So these are the pieces that they have to work through. They're going to see the specifications, so the item number, the order, the piece itself, any possible statuses with the item, and I'll show you statuses in a few seconds. But then just item types, due dates, for each area, so you can sort by the due date, and the due date is applicable based on each workflow area. So press, you can have a due date in there, bindery, outsourcing, delivery, you can have due dates on each of those areas. It'll also show, so you'll see here, the proof status. So I'm in the graphics department. It's going to show me the applicable proof status. So whether it's awaiting approval, approved, or in this case, rejected. So changes are required. These status messages, these are really nice because you can create custom status messages. We have standard ones that we have preloaded into DocketManager, but you can create custom ones as well. So in this particular case where you see the number 2, this is a grouped item, so it's showing that this is a grouped item and it's item number 1 of 2. So that's a custom status message. Also we have the posted versus unposted. But we created a custom one. Let's say we want to notify our graphics people, what are the jobs that you need to complete most absolutely today, without a doubt. We created a custom icon here for today, and what we can do is go into our status message and say, show me only the jobs in our graphics department that are due today. It'll now filter that view, so now my graphics people know that, hey, this particular piece is due today, so I have to get these done before moving on. Once they complete an item, they can select it and then move it to the next workflow center. So they're going to select it and they're going to say, okay, now this needs to go into the press area and save. So it moves out of their workflow area, out of their screen, into the next one. Then our press operator is going to come in and they're going to say, okay, these are the items that I need to work on, and you'll see it's filtered by today, so the press operator actually needs to get these jobs out today. It'll show an ink configuration here, so this is 185 red, so it'll show you the ink colors actually viewing on the production screen here. And again, I can pull the today status off of here if I want, so I can now see all of my different jobs that are available for production in the print area today, or again by due date. So it's going to move its way down through the production workflow all the way to delivery. The delivery people, again, you can utilize these search features so you can see the due dates. Anything that's in red shows, hey, this is overdue or past due. So we need to get on those. We can click the column and sort by the ship date. Or maybe we know that FedEx shows up at 11 o'clock every day. I can go down and search for my ship type. And my ship type I know is FedEx. So I'm going to do a sort by or a search by FedEx in my shipping department. I'm going to find all those items that are shipping out via FedEx, and I know these are the ones that I need to work on today. So again, the production workflow is a great way of following the job through the shop itself. If I jump into inventory here, there are a number of different items and pieces that we actually collect inventory on. First of all, there's a stock inventory section, and the stock can actually keep track of inventories of stock that you're keeping in your on your shop floor, or it can just be a stock database for items that are available for estimating on a job. Your paper companies a lot of times will supply you with a CSV file that you can import into DocketManager with all that stock database. So you can see what's on hand. If I go ahead and do a sort by, I'll click twice to do a reverse sort. So it's going to show me all the different stocks that I have on hand, when prices were updated. So you'll see here this particular stock here, we updated a price on it on 12/18. It's a first in, first out solution. So if we do have some of the stock, we've got 80,000 sheets on the floor, maybe 40,000 was at the old price and the next 40,000 is at the new price. The system will know when it hits that 40,000 to go ahead and utilize that new price. And this will also show you what's on hand versus what's available. So once a stock is allocated to a particular job, it pulls out of the allocated area. So it shows the available area. So it shows what's actually available to the stock because something is allocated to it. We can keep track of customer goods. So again, those can be business card masters or shells or anything that's pre-printed or different items for fulfillment. It will keep track of that inventory as it's run out on the orders or jobs, and there will be notifications for low inventory levels so you can manage the inventory right within DocketManager. You can keep track of supplies as well, so it could be something as simple as plastic combs or anything that you might utilize in a department item, paper clips or binder clips, ink, toner, all kinds of supplies can be kept track of in the supplies area. And in the purchase order area, this is where you can actually send out purchase orders to your paper vendors. So when you need to order stock, if it wasn't available in your database when you were creating that job, if you need to order paper, you can actually create a new paper order. And I'm going to go ahead and grab one that we've already done. So you can see up at the top here, we can actually print a purchase order or email it directly to the vendor. We can add stock items if necessary. Now this one has been totally received, so we can't add anything to it. But if the status of it was pending, and we go ahead and save this, now we can add additional stocks into it, or we can even receive stocks in. So when the order comes in, and our shipping department or receiving department receives that order, they can click received, type in the amount of sheets that they received on the packing slip. That way it goes ahead and updates the inventory levels that we have in stock now. So it's an easy way to keep those inventory levels accurate. And you can go into stocks too and adjust inventories if necessary. So we can keep track of all that right here. Going down here to our accounts receivable area, we've got a full accounts receivable module that's built right in, integrated right in. So when you receive payments or send invoices out, that's all tracked within the accounts receivable. So you can add deposits, payments, various entries. You have a general ledger breakdown when you close out. In fact, how it works is once everything's posted, you're going to close out for the month or week or day, however you do your closeouts. Most people will just do it at the end of the month. You'll run your closeout, and then you'll receive a CSV file, and from there, that CSV file can be imported into your full accounting program. So we have a lot of people that are using QuickBooks or other types of programs like that for their full accounting. They're just going to take that file, import those general ledger entries, those accounts receivable general ledger entries into their accounting program. So it's a very, very simple way of getting accounts receivable in. We also have, this is a nice little feature, a general ledger breakdown. The revenue breakdown. I clicked on the wrong one. The revenue breakdown will allow you to see the profitability of each of your cost centers. So my graphics department, it'll show me based on the date range that I selected, what the cost was for that area, what the actual sale was, and if I was profitable in that area. I can also drill down into the individual areas. So my press, if I wanted to see which presses were profitable or not, I have my press groupings that are here, and then I can even go further into the presses. And then as I drill down further, I can do the individual jobs within the presses. So scrolling down here, I can take a look at which jobs I was profitable on or not. Here I actually lost money on a job. So I can drill into the job to find out why I lost money, maybe put some notes in there so if it ever gets reordered or requoted, I have those notes in there so that won't happen again. There are reports built into DocketManager. All of the reports that are pulled out here are pulled into CSV files, so you can open up an Excel. You can set different date ranges and options on all the different reports. We've just recently added a number of new reports as well, and we will continue as we get feedback from our clients. We'll add reports as they become something that everybody seems to need. So I'm going to just quickly show us, let's go into the online portion. We'll go into here very quickly because I know we are approaching the end of the hour here. So the online portion is a login system, so your clients can log in and you can have a customized portal created specifically for them. So they're going to see the items that that you have for them that can be ordered. You can have static items, versioned or variable items. So if we go into the catalog section here, let's say I've got a static form that's available to this customer. When I go into the catalog section now, I have my forms which I can click on. When I go into those forms, I can click on the specific form that they're looking for and place an order on this item. Now again, this is a static piece, so there are no real changes on it, and you'll see it's pulling all of the information directly from DocketManager, the MIS system, so it's truly integrated together. We can upload files into here. We can select different options as far as the type of paper, the type of bindery options, and it will update that price automatically online based on the price that you have set in DocketManager. So again, there's no going into an online solution, changing the pricing and changing it into your MIS. It's truly integrated. And they can also add this to a cart, add additional items, check out with that cart, and pay with a credit card, so you're getting paid as the item comes through. If we go back into the catalogs area, let's look at some versioned information or version templates. A good example here would be like the business cards. So I'm going to go into a multiple layout option business card. So your customer is going to be able to fill out the piece, get an instant proof, and then you get a file that's already in position, ready to go. There can be saved pre-fills in here, so if I go in and select my name because that's what I've ordered before, it'll automatically pop in my last order with all of the information. Give me that instant proof. I can go ahead and make changes. So if my phone number changed, I can change that phone number, get that instant proof. I put the same phone number in, but I can update the preview. We have options for also changing the layout. So in this case, if we want a center justified layout in a different back, I can select those items, click update preview. It'll automatically shift the artwork around and change the options. I can then proceed and add this to a cart, set the ordering options, so the quantity that I want, the delivery options that I want. Again, add it to a cart, check out, and pay, and it's fully integrated into DocketManager. So when this order is received, when the customer sends it and it's received, it will automatically go into DocketManager into that workflow. You're not rewriting a job ticket or changing the job ticket. All the specifications, the file, everything goes right into production. So you can start producing that item as soon as it comes through. So again, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out. Have a wonderful day, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Take care now.